I want my family to get this. How do I get this to my family? Because, none of my family has salvation. And he told her, this is to me, this is a woman that's dying. She knows she's dying.
Yeah.
And her most important, I guess, legacy, we could say, was for her. I mean, at that time, we probably had 90 people in the family on my mother's side, 90, 100 people then. Yeah. And all her siblings were alive. She was the first one of them to die. Yes. And besides the baby that died when it was a baby. Yeah, a week old or something like that, I think. But her most important question was, how do I take salvation to her family?
Faith and Failures Podcast.
But there's a story. I mean, there's always a story about our mom. Yeah. And well, our mom, let you do it. When our mom, when we moved to East Texas and our mom was getting sick all the time, they finally found out that she had colon cancer. And she winded up, they pulled a 16-pound tumor out of her colon. She had to have a colostomy bag, and she had to have a port that went into her heart, the main artery of her heart, where they would give her radiation treatments. Yes. And so when that was going on, my mom had decided to start going to church. And she started taking me to church. And we were going to Tyler Metro Church. And
What do you smile?
I love... Well,
she lit up when you said it.
Yeah, because there's so much to the story. Well, she, as we were going to that church, she received salvation. And then there was one particular Sunday where the pastor was talking about being baptized, and, well, she was sitting in the pew and she was crying. And then she went up to walk the aisle, and, of course, I went with her because I was only like 10. And it was just me and her that went. Nobody went with us. And so she had told the pastor, that she wanted to do this. She wanted to be baptized, but she couldn't because she had that colostomy bag and she couldn't be submerged underwater. And so she was crying, and he said, no, ma'am. He said, baptism is not the most important. He said, you received salvation? And she said, yes, sir. And we knew she did because she totally changed. She went from being a fighter, punch you in your face if you talk to her, to being a, oh, well, it'd be fine, move on. Okay. She was a totally different person. And so he told her, you don't have to be baptized. Should you be baptized, to honor God and to let the world know that you're following him? Yes, but if you can't, that's not your way into heaven. And she said, well, I want my family to get this. How do I get this to my family? Because, none of my family has salvation. And he told her, to me, this is a woman that's dying. She knows she's dying.
Yeah.
And her most important, I guess, legacy, we could say, was for her. I mean, at that time, we probably had 90 people in the family on my mother's side, 90, 100 people then. Yeah. And all her siblings were alive. She was the first one of them to die. Yes. And besides the baby that died when it was a baby. Yeah, a week old or something like that, I think. But her most important question was, how do I take salvation to her family? How do I get them to get it? And he said, you just tell them your testimony. You tell them how you came to Christ, and you tell them what he did for you. And so that's where she began. And through her death, we've learned that her dad, her mom received, and her sister, one of her sisters, before they died, all received salvation. And so, and it's just been carried on. I mean, it's drifting down. So yeah, I mean, and that's where our ministry is called Hales Angels, because our mom's maiden name was Hales, Hales. So that's where that came about. We wanted to honor her, and but leave the legacy of Jesus Christ. Yes. So our purpose is the legacy of Jesus Christ, but the honor of our mom. Yes. And to carry on her, I guess you could say, her dying wish. Yeah. Yeah. And to bring it to take her dying wish and bring that to our family. Yes. So to this day, I went to visit with my uncle a few weeks ago, which is the oldest uncle, the oldest brother to our sister, who is now he went to church. Him and his wife went to church, but they also had left West Texas, and so they were living like in Alice, and it was just their family. Yeah. And so we've since discovered that, and to this day, my cousin, which is their only child, he's been reading the Bible a lot, but he also buys like booklets for his dad, who is, I think he's 80 something. Ooh, let me not misquote my uncle's age. Yeah, but he looks like he's about 60. Oh, he does.
Really?
Yes. He's like, but he buys these booklets for him, like Mark. So he reads through Mark, then he gets Matthew, Luke, John, and I think he's in Romans now. And then we have another uncle. His name is Texas Mac.
Yeah.
And
That is his name. That's Mac.
and he started a Bible study group at his house in West Texas, where we were born and raised. And he does this Bible study group that now goes from one house to the next.
And several of our cousins attend that Bible study.
Yes.
And so, I mean, really, it's all about God, where He pulled us from. You know, when our mom died, it became so real. And she was the first one in our entire family to die, for it to be a tragic death where everyone was.
But she was the oldest sister.
She was the oldest sister.
You know, so that also puts in a like a dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, in the family.
It crushed a lot of our family. Her death did, and I think that played a part in what happened with us and our brothers. Was instead of having God as our foundation in our family, we had each other put in the wrong role. You know, and we had our mom up where she shouldn't have been,
which happened.
And when we lost her,
You got to cling to something.
yes,
Somebody's got to be the foundation.
yes. And so I think that a lot of times people don't realize it when they say, "Oh, she's my rock," or "Oh, he's my rock,"
But my mom was never my rock.
We should have never put her in that position. She should have never been a rock, because she wasn't. She was human. And so when we did lose her, it crushed us. And my brothers and my dad took it the worst. I think I took it a little, but I was so young that I didn't quite understand what was happening.
The lives spiraled more out of control.
I went into survival mode.
He was kind of the glue,
Yes.
holding everything together.
Yes.
Everything started falling apart.
But
Yes.
now Jesus was always my rock.
Yeah.
Like I didn't look at my mom as my rock.
Well, she couldn't. You couldn't, because Mom didn't treat you.
Well, she didn't favor me.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. She didn't treat you
So
the right way.
she didn't like you?
I think.
Are you?
I think that she loved me. I think that she was very busy trying to help my dad. I think.
Well, and our dad favored her. And so I think that maybe that might have made my mom like kind of push her a little to the side. Maybe not meaning to,
Right.
you know, because we love our mom.
I just think
You
she
know,
was very
But we're being honest here.
Hold it all
You know what I'm saying? We're being honest. We want people to know that in your family, the dynamics, if God isn't your foundation, it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
You're going to have an unhealthy family. You just are.
Faith and Failures Podcast.